What's going on, everybody? Z here. Welcome back. So we've got a little, this isn't Subnautica related news, but it kind of is, and it could be. So we're going to talk about this now. I want to start off by clarifying that everything here is going to be opinionated. And what I am saying here is I'm not saying that this has been confirmed or anything. It doesn't even really have relations to Subnautica, possibly. But Crafton is making moves that I think a lot of gamers are kind of like, I don't know if I like that, which is kind of how things have been for Crafton, unfortunately, with the public, with the gamers and stuff like that. So Crafton is now an AI first company. They're going to spend $70 million on a GPU cluster to serve as the foundation for accelerating the implementation of Agentic AI. Now, let's talk about what Agentic AI is, because I had no idea. I had to Google it. So according to Google, Agentic AI refers to autonomous AI systems that can make their own decisions and take action to achieve goals with minimum human intervention. Unlike traditional AI that requires constant prompting, this is going to basically plan, reason, and execute complex multi-step workflows using tools, accessing data, and learning from results. Now, this is obviously from Google, which is also an AI thing, so it is what it is. But anyways, that is what they said. Now, we're going to get into this article. So this article right here specifically is from PC Gamer. So I want to talk about a little bit about this, and there's a couple other articles we're just going to touch on a little bit. Earlier this week, okay, well, this isn't necessarily with them, but earlier this week, Pocket Pair Publishing, which I think is funny that they brought Pocket Pair into this, but it's kind of funny. Pocket Pair Publishing boss John Buckley said his company isn't interested in handling games built with generative AI. If you're big on AI stuff, or your game is Web3 or uses NFTs, there's a lot of publishers out there who will, but we're not the right partner for that. One of those partners, it seems, is PUBG maker Crafton, or Subnautica publisher now, Crafton, which announced today that it is transforming into an AI first company. So to clarify, Pocket Pair, which is obviously Pow World, they're basically a publisher now as well as games. And they're saying, hey, we're not into AI. We're not into Web3. We're not into NFTs. If your game is going to do that, there's other people out there. We are not here for that. We want to keep things relatively conservative to what games have been in the past and how they're developed and stuff like that. So basically they're saying there's other people for that, which then gets into, well, guess what? Crafton is now an AI first company. Now, what does it mean AI first? That means, to me, and from what I saw, that means that their primary goals going forward and their primary thing that they want to focus on is AI. They want to focus on implementing it. They want to focus on developing it, making it better. They think that AI is the way of the future, which a lot of things do. A lot of things seem like AI is the way of the future here. However, there's certain things that a lot of people would like to see AI do, and there's a lot of things that certain people would like to see AI not do. Games, it's kind of one of those secondary ones, kind of one of the ones on the ladder. I don't personally want to see a whole bunch of AI in games. I want people to be making the games because I think AI slop is going to cause a lot of issues. But anyways, let's talk about this. So the announcement, posted on Crafton's Korean language site and translated via Google, probably translated via AI, says that the change will represent a complete reorganization of the company's operational development system, placing AI at the center of problem solving. The goals of the new strategy include fostering change in individuals and organizations, increasing company-wide productivity, and accelerating mid to long-term corporate value growth, the company said. So key things to take away from this: problem solving. AI is at the center of problem solving. I don't really have an issue with the problem solving part, right? If you have issues, things like that, there's AI that can be implemented in a way used as a tool to help people get through problems, help things get figured out. However, fostering change in individuals, increasing company-wide productivity, which is good, but when they're specifically saying, hey, we're doing this to increase productivity, doesn't sound great. And accelerating mid to long-term corporate value growth. So we're here to make money, which obviously they are, but it is what it is. To make the magic happen, Crafton said it will invest roughly 100 billion Korean won, which is roughly 70 million, in a GPU cluster to support multi-stage tasks requiring sophisticated reasoning and iterative planning, and serve as the foundation for accelerating the implementation of agentic AI. Again, the AI that can basically do its own stuff. You can tell it to do something and it'll figure it out. Another 30 billion, which is 21 million, will be allocated annually beginning in 2026 to actively support its employees in directly utilizing and applying various AI tools to their work. Through our AI first strategy, Crafton will expand the growth opportunities for each member, expand creative attempts centered on player experience, and lead AI innovation across the gaming industry. Crafton CEO Kim Chang-han said, we will establish operational standards centered on AI and present best practices that can be referenced in the global gaming industry. So they're trying to make themselves as like the forefront and the leader in AI with gaming. Now, personally, like I said, AI for me and gaming, just I don't feel like we're to the point yet where those two should be really commingling a whole lot. Like I've said, there's tools that AI can do. There's tools that you can use, help problem solving, speed up some kind of workflows, some tedium, stuff like that, maybe. But what I'm worried personally is that with AI, we're gonna get to the point where people are using AI for everything. We're gonna use AI generative AI to fill and make the landscapes. We're going to use AI to code games and stuff like that to be like, oh, I want this character to do that. Instead of having somebody actually code it and do them themselves, they're going to be like, hey, AI can write this and be done with it, immediately. And we're going to get all this, unfortunately, AI slop, like the stuff that's like, well, this is obviously AI. And people don't like it. That's not what we want, especially these really large corporations, these games that are hundreds of millions of dollars, which I personally think is bloated already. Now they're going to use AI to do it, so they're going to have to pay less people, but still charge the same stuff. You know what I mean? I don't like the overall sound of this. Now, this could be me being an old person, and like, oh, this newfangled AI is going to ruin everything, But I think that it's personally, I think like AI is obviously here to stay. It's not going anywhere, but I think the road forward needs to be treaded with caution, because I think we could go good with it, we could go bad with it. It may be probably a little bit of both, but yeah. So this is what's going on with Crafton. Crafton said this. Now, so this is the article from PC Gamer. So like this is their opinionated part. What this works out to in practical term remains to be seen, but on gut level, I think it sounds terrible. Broadly speaking, I see two likely outcomes: layoffs, because C-suite types love to imagine that good video games can be made by thinking machines that don't need to be paid or given time off. Exactly. Or a catastrophic collapse when the AI bubble pops and companies find themselves sitting on mountains of NVIDIA hardware that's suddenly destined for Craigslist. You know what's funny is the whole Craigslist reference there. Leave a comment. Let me know. Does anybody buy stuff on Craigslist anymore? Like, Craigslist has become like an awful platform to buy stuff on. I haven't even been on Craigslist for years. So leave a comment. Let me know if you're still using Craigslist, or like the last time you actually used Craigslist for anything. And of course, mountains of debt that they took on to acquire it in the first place. Maybe it'll be the old 1-2 layoffs. First the layoffs, then the collapse. That's how these things often work out. But hey, maybe it'll all work out. It's entirely possible that Crafton's vision for the future is right on the money, and all of this will indeed pave the way to a better, more productive, and more creative future for all of us. I don't think so. And JP Morgan chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon would seem to agree. Not that AI is going to give us good video games, of course, but that the bubble is going to pop and it's going to be pretty bad when it does. So, again, I don't know. This doesn't really specifically have anything to do with Subnautica. However, I've seen a lot of people already claiming and already kind of, ridiculing Subnautica, that they might be using AI for stuff. And they've been kind of pushing back, like, there's no AI in here, there's none of that. And then Crafton comes out and it's like, we're an AI first company now, which means like our priority is now AI. It's like, you're not winning the good fight here. Like, you're not looking great. So here's a little bit from Eurogamer. Crafton's position is not an outlier in the industry. Back in 2024, Square Enix CEO Takashi stated the company would be aggressive in applying AI, with developers admitting they dabbled with AI for the ill-fated shooter Foam Stars, which I don't even remember that game at all. So leave a comment. Let me know. Did you even hear about that? I don't even know what this game is. Did it ever come out? Maybe it didn't. I just don't remember it. Professor Layton's studio, Level 5, has used AI tool Stable Diffusion, and even Capcom has admitted to experimenting with generative AI too. Sega also has an in-house AI team. In fact, a recent survey conducted at the Computer Entertainment Suppliers Association, the CESA, the organizer of the Tokyo Game Show, showed that over half of Japanese game companies are using AI in their development. Again, I don't think it's inherently a bad thing that people are using AI in the aid of developing games. However, what I'm worried about is that people are using AI to develop games, and they're basically using that as a filler for having less people, less paychecks going out, less work, things like that. I'm worried it's the quality. It's the quality that I think everybody's worried about here. And we haven't seen, personally, I don't think I've seen a good example of an AI game that's like, oh, that's a good quality game. You know what I mean? It's generally not great. So that's what's going on with this. I had to talk about it because it's Crafton related. Again, it's not necessarily Subnautica related, but is this going to affect Subnautica? I don't know. Are we going to have some AI stuff in Subnautica? I don't know. Has it already been called out? Have people already asked Subnautica if they're using AI? Yes, it has. Have they been saying no? Yes, they've been saying no, but this doesn't look good. It doesn't reinforce the sentiment that, hey, we're not using AI for our games, but you just became an AI first company. You know what I mean? So leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'll have links to these 2 articles down below. Again, the main document that all this is coming from is in it's in a different language. So this is all translated via Google. So I'm reading off of what these people said. I obviously did not read the original document. I can't, it's Korean. I don't speak Korean. I don't read it. So yeah, it is what it is. But I just wanted to share this because it's interesting. And I know a lot of people on my channel have been asking me about, what's going on with this. And yeah, I saw this and I was like, it's interesting. So yeah, thanks again for coming out. Have a wonderful day. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? Ultimately, I don't know. We'll see. But thanks again for coming out. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.